Let's go, let's go. So if everybody don't know, good morning, good morning, good morning. If y'all know, you know me. This is my guy, one of my favorite CEOs, Bill McDermott. He owns one of the best companies on the market that I own, ServiceNow. Let's hear him talk.
The transformation market is expected to grow 3 times faster than GDP in 2021. So business leaders are now facing do-or-die moments in a forever changed world. Business models have changed forever.
He's the coolest CEO.
Accelerated the digital imperative. So if you think of it this way, in 2027, 75% of the companies that are on today's Fortune 500 list will not be there unless they make bold changes and digitally transform. That's do or die.
Well,
ooh, he talking heavy early.
Your observability solution and the importance of observability, I don't think anyone else has this. This is a very proprietary thing.
Morning, morning, family.
I want people to know what it is.
Well, think of it this way. There is going to be more than 500 million applications developed in enterprises by 2023. And that's equivalent to the total number of apps that were developed in the past 40 years. So what companies have to do is they have to have platforms that can digitally transform their enterprise. The Now platform from ServiceNow allows you to observe your data, form patterns, understand what that data is doing, everywhere from developers that are in operations to executives that are watching shopping carts at the checkout counter in any given retailer. So we run the whole business. IT has to serve the business, employees have to get a great experience, customers have to get a frictionless service, and you have to create new applications. That whole value chain is managed in the cloud by ServiceNow with enormous precision. I call ServiceNow the control tower for digital transformation. Flows with ServiceNow.
And how great it is when you have repetitive things that are really something that makes an employee get down in the dumps, and you're fixing that. I thought that your analysis of what you've done with Airbus in Toulouse is worth
Oh, Airbus is just a great story. You know, if you think about this idea of, looking at your business and really understanding what's going on in your business, you could scan things in your supply chain and truly automate the way that supply chain is reacting in real time. Airbus innovated a tracking app with a creator application on the Now platform in less than 3 months. They transformed their manufacturing, transportation, incident.
Airbus is the biggest competitor to Boeing, in case y'all don't know.
So just think of the shareholder value that's getting created in that one application. And they'll do many things.
I think it's important because you always hear these people have
Bill is my guy, man. One of my favorite CEOs, man.
professionals, executives in front of other executives. Oh my God, help. Sounds like that you don't want to sit there on Zoom, do you?
Oh, no, I actually don't. But I think it's really important. What we try to do with our employees, we want to return people to work safely, Jim. As you know, with the Now platform, we vaccinated millions and millions of people globally by transporting, administering, and monitoring vaccines for countries all over the world. And we want to return our people safely, and we've given them till the beginning of the year. Having said that, I've been on the road now for weeks, meeting with customers all over the United States in the federal government as well as all the commercial sectors.
He's the CEO.
Companies like ServiceNow, when you see these results that were largely earned over Zoom and doing things digitally, when we can fully get
up 8% in 1 month.
No, I agree. You're all-time high. Bill McDermott, thank you so much. CEO of ServiceNow. Great stuff.
One of my favorite stocks, one of my favorite CEOs. He is the coolest man on Wall Street. IPO of Robinhood. Tell everybody to come in here. We're going to talk about it, man. Okay, y'all, check it out, man. This morning, I'm reporting live from the Trap, man, is brought to you by Wall Street Certified Trap, a baking soda, is brought to you by the Pyrex Vision and the Triple Beam team. Also, it is funded by Trappin with the Trapper, 2-day workshop and workbook. Let's go. Somebody say CNBC lies. Everybody lies, man. That ain't nothing new, man. Stop it. What's good, y'all? How y'all feeling this morning, man? I feel amazing. It's a good day to be a good day, man. It's a great day to be great. You hear me? I will no longer fertilize my fears, man. I will breathe life into my dreams. I will take advantage of every opportunity that is presented to me. What's good, y'all? How y'all feeling, man? What's the deal? You hear me? Yeah, man. So we got Robinhood IPO in this morning. We definitely gonna talk about that. You know what I'm talking about? We definitely gonna talk about that. We definitely gonna get into that. We got a few things going on as well. I gotta get my ink pen, y'all. I've been slipping, y'all. I always take notes while I'm watching TV, man. All right, how y'all feeling this morning, man? Came back from Cali. Shout out to Cali, man. I get that Cali love with. Yeah, Cali is amazing. I might give me a spot out there, man. I definitely love the vibe out there in Cali. Where my stocks book at? I got a book that says stock notes. Where's that at? Yeah, Cali is amazing. Shout out to everybody in Cali, man. Y'all definitely know how to show love. The energy in Cali is definitely sweet. For sure. Yeah. It's love out there. So man, we got some things going on. Come on, we would love to have you for sure. Yes, I do play options, man. I'm all over the market. Yeah, I was making moves, you hear me? What you like about Cali? Just the vibes, just the energy. It's a good place to be, you hear me? Just an amazing place to be when I'm out there, man. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about it, man. 7 cities, 7 days, man. That's coming up, man. We hitting Houston first. That's gonna be amazing. Cause he has something wrong with his eye. He wear them all the time, man. I definitely gotta come to Oakland, man. It's my dream to meet Angela Davis. That's one of my dreams, man. She is one of my favorite black women of all time. Angela Davis and Sada Shakur, 2 of my favorite black men and women of all time. So I definitely love Angela Davis. Shout out to Oakland, man. People don't know. People sleep on Oakland, man. Oakland was heavy on the revolution, man. You know what I'm saying? We love Oakland. Let's go, y'all.
Of the New York Stock Exchange. In just a moment, you don't want to miss it. The CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Tenev, is going to join us on IPO day. Got record highs on the Dow and the S&P this morning. But first, we're going to get to pending home sales in just a moment. One thing, Jim, we didn't get to was GDP at 6.5. We were looking.
I'm on module 4 of the course. It's really dope for sure, man.
But a lot of discussion about whether the inventory's digging us.
Right, but look, there are people I can give you.
I gotta represent my guys at Invest Fest. What you mean the conversation is different? It's a different conversation, family.
Jay Powell is looking at has done a lot of work on the Delta variant.
Cocaine cream.
But it's going to there'll be shutdowns again in some places. It really does accentuate. So that's why I think he had to do it.
Right. Maybe one reason why futures really didn't move around on the miss.
Yes.
In the meantime, online stuff.
Queen, I'll be back.
Robinhood will make its public debut today.
Let's go.
The anticipated IPO is a 5-time CNBC disruptor, pricing at 38, the bottom end of the range, values the company at just about $32 billion. As we await the first trade, let's get to the NASDAQ, where our Andrew...
Let's check it out, y'all. Robinhood CEO gonna be on.
Hey there. It's great to see you, Carl, and it's great to be here with the CEO of Robinhood, co-founder, 8 years ago, Vlad. 8 years ago, right? More than 8 years ago, you co-founded this company.
8 years, but 6 years after we launched our product.
And so amazing. You know, more than anything, this company now represents this retail trading movement. And so, before we can talk about the company, what is this moment?
No, I don't do scalping.
I mean, it's a very special moment for me and for my co-founder. We came here as immigrants to this country. You know, I came at JFK Airport right here in New York. And then
55 million shares.
30 years later, less than 30 years later, we're here. And starting from nothing, created this company that serves over 22 million customers.
So lots of questions about this offering, and in particular, I mentioned the retail investor. What's so unique about this offering is how much presence of retail investors there is going to be in this stock now. How do you think about that? And do you know how much has been allocated to the retail versus institutions?
Oh, it's certainly going to be one of the largest retail allocations ever. And I think when you hear the mission of Robinhood to democratize finance for all, it's really about giving access to everyone what was once reserved for the 1% or the very wealthy. So it makes a lot of sense, very consistent with how we've always operated. So we're proud to have one of the largest retail allocations.
Do you know the number though? Because I know it was going to be somewhere between 20% and 35%. We've been hearing.
I mess with Robinhood because they just ones on the front street. All other platforms do the same to us, at least with them. You're absolutely incorrect, brother.
Customers access.
How will it change the way you think that you'll run the company and communicate with the investor base? And the reason I ask is the retail investor base is a very different type of investor base. We've seen, for example, that the retail investor base, at least over the past couple of weeks when it came to the Lucid SPAC, for example, they don't vote. It's harder to reach them. AMC has now had some issues in terms of getting the vote from shareholders on certain issues.
Yeah, I think it's certainly something we're interested in. You probably saw that we did a customer roadshow last weekend, and we're going to try new things. We think that it's important not just for retail
AJ Dunk, salute, King.
But for there to be dialogue between retail investors and the companies that they're invested in. So it's definitely something that you'll see us engaging with, and I think the customer roadshow was one example of new things we can do.
You talked about democratizing investing, and that you have very much done, but it's also come with this question about payment for order flow and whether the customer is not the customer, whether the Robinhood customer is really not the one that's paying for all of this, but it is the quote-unquote establishment, right? And it's the Citadels of the world, it's the Virtues of the world. They're actually paying 75% of the revenues that the company gets. What do you say about that, and how do you explain it?
Yeah, it doesn't resonate with me. This business model that we've helped pioneer, which is now the standard business model for retail brokerage in the U.S., has allowed so many more people to participate and has led to an aggregate, lots more money being put into customers' pockets rather than corporate profits. So we're proud to have passed back more value to customers, and we'll continue to keep doing that. I think eliminating commissions was really just the start.
What do you think the risk, though, long-term is to the business model of payment for order flow, given how much of how big a percentage of your revenue it represents?
Well, I do think we're going to have to keep a dialogue with the public, with the media about what payment for order flow is. I think you've probably seen me over the past couple of months engaging more openly in the topic, and the truth is, I think it could be better explained, and we could continue to do that. And I think we'll continue defending it as something that has led to a much greater, diverse set of people participating in the markets. And I think from a business level, you'll see Robinhood continue to diversify its business lines and its revenue over time. I mean, in particular, just in the past couple of quarters, even within transaction-based revenue, you've seen cryptocurrency take a larger share.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, which is that a huge part of the business became Dogecoin in the quarter prior, and whether you believe that that's sustainable, what that ultimately means to the business when we have these sort of meme moments.
I mean, my philosophy, the philosophy of Robinhood, is to make it as easy as possible to participate. And on the brokerage side, the goal is really how do you take first-time investors and turn them into long-term investors. And you've seen that through a lot of the products that we've rolled out recently, fractional shares, drip, recurring investments. We're seeing a lot of really exciting engagement with those, and we're going to continue making them better and better. So, of course, there's going to be idiosyncratic moments where something becomes more culturally relevant, like a particular cryptocurrency or a particular stock. And of course, we have to be available for our customers.
But speak to this, because it's the thing that I think feels at odds. On the business model does rely on, to some degree, volatility, trading, options, crypto on that side. And on the other side, I know that the company is spending an inordinate amount of time trying to both educate investors and trying to push the idea that these are long-term investors. But the longer-term investor is not going to be as profitable investor.
Yeah, I mean, we're optimizing for happy customers, and we're optimizing for the long term. So making first-time investors into long-term investors, and giving people more selection and diversifying the product suite based on what customers tell us.
That was a good question too.
Spending, saving money. We want to offer all of those things. So I think over the long run, if we focus on happy customers and they use our products, we'll have diversified revenue, and it'll be fundamentally very, very good for the business.
What's the chance that
You didn't answer the question, but it's good.
Stock? Have you thought about that?
That's very self-referential. No, I haven't thought about it much.
But in terms, and this goes to the communication issue, though. I mean, you occasionally see Ryan Cohen.
No, it doesn't
when
teach
it
how to
comes
do options.
GameStop. He'll put out a tweet. I don't know if it's intentional or not. I think it probably isn't. But he'll put a picture of an ice cream cone, and all of a sudden there's folks on Reddit who think are trying to divine meaning into that. And so how you think about, again, this goes to how you communicate and what you say, and whether you think that actually, literally a tweet can move the stock.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting with what we've seen in retail investing over the past year is that a lot of these companies have been hit hard by the pandemic, right? And you see it started with some of the airlines, and then followed with some of the retailers, some movie chains, and brick and mortar.
Right.
And you have the institutions that are basically writing these companies off, and then retail investors coming in.
Appreciate you too.
And keeping them up and supporting them.
Does that make sense to you when you look at an AMC stock, for example, or any of these others that have moved in this way? Do you say this is healthy for the markets? Do you say this is unhealthy for the markets?
Well, I probably shouldn't comment on my own views on.
Well, you might. I assume you must have
stocks.
views about whether. No, but it's a phenomenon, and it's a phenomenon impacted in large part by your own users. And so I'm curious sort of how you personally think about it.
I think it's a real thing. I mean, there's customers that love these companies. They want them to thrive, and you're seeing them also get resources that allow them to hire really good management teams in some cases, and then build for the future. So I think it's very interesting. I don't know if people have understood the ramifications of what high retail participation in the
he
market
asking
means,
good
but
questions.
Fundamentally, it's a very good thing, and we're excited to be a part of it.
He asking questions.
Got a question down from the New York Stock Exchange. Jim?
All right. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Vlad. How are you? Congratulations on a great day for you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yes, same. And I know that we had you on at the very beginning when I was in California, and I always felt that you were about democratization. I am concerned when I saw the actual documents. A huge number of people are options trader. I was an options trader when I was at Goldman Sachs, but there's a lot of possibility of losing money in options. Do you think that many of your options traders actually take delivery of common stock? Is it an onboard way, or are they just really given to options and don't want to own common stock?
Well, let me tell you this, Jim. So Robinhood, our top value is safety first. And so all the work that we've been doing on the options platform is to make sure that it's clear to customers what they're buying. And we've made a lot of great work around the edge cases of what options trading is. Because
he handling it well for sure.
It's for more advanced customers. We've been investing a whole lot in education. But I think fundamentally there's customers that are very interested in it for a variety of different use cases, and it is a powerful tool that's been reserved for wealthier, more sophisticated investors up until recently, and we're proud to drive that accessibility to a broader audience.
Vlad, it's Morgan. Congratulations today. I asked this question knowing hindsight is 2020, but if you could go...
Well, he could have handled it horribly, so there's no such thing as he had no choice.
I would say it's, there's always things we could have done better. and I'm the first to say that.
That's a fact.
But it's been an amazing 6 months, and it really 18 months, and much more than that. If you had asked me 6 years ago,
You're not gonna ask about FINRA on here, y'all. Like, let's be real. They're not here to insult him.
Customers, over 100 billion in assets under custody as of Q2. I think what we've delivered for customers and the size of the business, I don't think I would have been able to guess that.
Vlad, when I look at what the 22 million are about, I want to know whether they trade every day. Sometimes we see these stocks, and they're like 20 million shares outstanding, and they trade 150 million. I mean, do you have people who are just glued to the app? And will they stay glued to the app when we get the unemployment benefits lower, when we're jobs?
Yes, we send some out. Before I left, we're going to send some out today and tomorrow. Workbooks.
Flipping the stock.
Walaikum salam.
Customers do a variety of things. I mean, most people aren't trading every single day. They're looking at their watch lists, they're reading the news, they're looking at their portfolios, and in some cases making adjustments. But we keep adding more and more content that educates customers, that keeps them informed, and we'll continue to do that, as well as adding.
Gotta cancel it, Queen.
They can use through Robinhood.
Vlad, it's David Faber. Final question from us here at the NYSE. You know, Morgan had asked you about that January period. I mean, what did you take away from that? You know, you're a technology company, but you're a financial technology company.
It's called fintech.
Margin calls were coming in with big volume. You know, what did you learn about being the financial part of a technology company and all the regulations and all the things that come along with that? And how are you going to apply it now?
I think in those short few weeks around end of January, early February, we certainly learned a lot. We got a whole lot of work done, strengthening everything across the board, not just the balance sheet, but customer support.
I DM'd you and no response. There's 99 DMs in there. I get it as I get to it, yo.
At the time, to actually come back, and we've seen a lot of increases in activity through Q1 and Q2. It wasn't just January, but April and May, and I think it's been a better and better experience for our customers every time.
Were you surprised by that? Because, you know, a lot of times when a business has a major challenge, a customer-facing business has a challenge, the customer walks. And in your case, they didn't walk. They actually kept, you know, even.
You have to buy the workbook, beloved.
What do you think about that?
Link in my bio.
Well, at the time, we were just making sure that we were focused on the basics. Like, how can we make sure our service is reliable and robust and stable through all of the load that we were seeing, which was unprecedented at the time? How can we make sure customer support is working? And how do we get better every
Appreciate
single
you,
day?
beloved.
I think it speaks to how much customers love the product fundamentally. They're continuing to refer their friends. 80+% of our new growth is organic and word of mouth. And we think we've just scratched the surface on that. I think there's a lot more that we could do to serve people.
Long term, how much of the business do you think is crypto? And the reason I ask is we interviewed Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, yesterday. And she talked about crypto in the context of snake oil. And in the context of what she said, we're snake oil salesmen, and she said this is a sector that needs to be regulated. And so what do you think is going to come down the pipe when it comes to regulation of crypto and how it might affect you?
I think, you know, we're going to be a participant. It's clear that our customers are interested in this asset class, and I think it's becoming a more and more widely accepted asset class. You're seeing institutions.
Why you was confused about that?
It's global by nature, which I think presents an interesting opportunity for Robinhood because it's a accelerant potentially for international expansion into certain markets. So of course we're going to have to continue constructive dialogue, and people are trying to figure out what the regulatory framework is going to be, and we welcome that.
What do you think is the defensive mode?
Trap symbolism. Look how you. Oh man, it's not that deep for me.
Robinhood really stands for this next generation of consumers.
Talk about the kid who committed suicide because they glitched in that app. I don't think that's their fault though, right?
Can own the message of being for the next generation and democratizing as much as we can. And I think that resonates with more and more people. I mean, it's a message that has kind of snowballed, especially in the
That's
past
the
10
fact.
years. of course, it's more than the brand. I think we've delivered the goods. When we say we're democratizing access to finance, it's not just, a slogan for us, but
Coinbase 2.0.
All of our products, like the stock trading business, crypto, options, our debit card and savings
that's
products,
more
recently IPO.
I mean, he rest in peace, but I don't think that's Robinhood's fault.
On IPOs. Yeah. So given this IPO, what is success for you? When you talked to the bankers at Goldman Sachs yesterday and you were trying to set the price, it did start, or it was at the lower end of the range at $38. Did you say to yourself, I want a 10%, if we get a 10% pop on day one, that's great, 20%, I don't want it to go down. Tell us the way you thought about it.
The way that we like to run the business, it goes back to our top value, safety first. We generally like to be conservative, and I know that there's a lot of misconceptions around Robinhood and how we operate, but we like to be conservative, and what we wanted to make sure is that everyone is set up for long-term success. I mean, ultimately,
Appreciate that, fam.
To be here in Times Square, but it is a moment in time, and you're going to find that Jason, our CFO, and I aren't going to be commenting too much
That's
on
a fact.
Day-to-day price fluctuations and what we want to see. We want to be a long-term business that adds more and more value to customers, and these short-term fluctuations over the long run just wash out. We'd like to be a heavy company in the...
Shout out to the trappers in the building.
And how much
FinTech is needed in portfolio for sure, Andy.
I asked because of the control nature of the way you structured the governance.
I think we'd obviously like to hear from our shareholders. We're going to respect all of them, retail and...
They part of responsible, man. They not responsible, man. That ain't on them, man.
I think that you mentioned...
That ain't on them, man. Don't play the game if you don't know what you're doing, man. That ain't on them at all, man. Losses come with the game. Don't never bet what you can't lose.
It's good to avoid short-term distractions. To run a long-term business, it's important to avoid those types of distractions. We think this positions us well to be a long-term focused company that takes big bets and continues to challenge the status quo.
And finally, when investors today think about your company,
man, I appreciate that. Zanzibar was different from me.
The comparables to the Coinbases of the world, to certain banks, to a broker.
Yeah, man, that ain't on Robinhood at all. I ain't never blame him for that. That's on him, man.
I don't know if I'm the best person to tell investors what our comps are. What I'm focused on is customers. I think it's a technology company that's
way to answer that question, boy.
In financial services, I think it's a unique company. There's not a lot of companies with our growth profile and our product set in financial services. So it's certainly a unique opportunity and a unique business that we're building.
5 years from now, what does this company look like?
5 years from now, we want Robinhood to be the most trusted and most culturally relevant money app worldwide.
The replay will go, but the negative sign popped up on his account, and he really didn't lose anything. But is that on him? Is that on Robinhood for overreacting? That's on him for overreacting. You can't blame Robinhood for that, man.
Good to see you in person, no less, after all this time. Carl, back to you.
Andrew Sorkin.
Good. That was love. That was love. I love listening to that just now, man. So here's my thoughts on Robinhood. I'm going to keep it 100. Right, here's my thoughts on Robinhood. Okay, hold on. Let's let Bill talk. Let's let Jim talk.
The metamorphosis of Black 10 since even those congressional hearings is rather amazing. Emphasizing safety. That's what you have to do. Talking about education, trying to get people to understand the broader portfolio of what they have as a product. All great. I just wanted to be sure that given an options-based investor and given the amount of trading that happens on daily equations and that, but I feared that there'd be flippers. I think David, I felt personally that what he said is there really are, sure, there are a lot of options guys fast going, but there are a lot of people who seem to be embedded in the stock market who weren't before, and that would be very positive.
Investing in stocks is buying shares, King.
Yeah, you can if you keep them fully engaged over a longer period of time, as you've talked about so often. And as for the performance of this,
that's a fact, Dan, man. A 20-year-old get that much leverage. That's a fact.
I think Black 10 had a lot to do with how more to do than anybody else that I've known.
But I don't blame Robinhood for that, man.
Price right, and I think that that's terrific. He's pro-customer.
There's a lot wrong with Robinhood, but I understand the premise of the app.
I wanted to be sure that there was.
Also, it's an app in the early ages. They had a lot wrong with Apple. They had a lot wrong with Google. They had a lot wrong with Amazon in the beginning, so it's all good.
They did manage to allocate.
Even good determination now. Coinbase was looking 400. I was telling people not to pay 400, and then the mean people said, "Oh, Kramer says pay 399." No.
The question about the moat, the competitive moat, he didn't say technology, algorithms, he said brand. Is that sticky enough?
I think that's right. I think that the people who are in the market are people who are.
I wouldn't bring my kid. No. Wife, yes. Kid, no.
They're loyal to Robinhood. And the great point that Andrew meant, which is that even after the so-called fiasco of the last week of January, first week of February, more people came in. I was watching a number of people looking at the app store and seeing that even more people came in. And Morgan, one of the things that's incredible is that these are people who truly believe it is a revolution.
I don't know if there's a moat there.
It's very positive. I mean, it potentially represents what we're seeing happening in real time right now. It represents a fundamental shift.
I don't know if they got a moat.
Right? And I mean, you can talk about what's happening in the meme stock.
Moat has to be something.
What I've called crowdsourced.
That's something different to get into. There's no moat there.
Of the year as well, but
No.
to your point, the fact that you see more people engaged, I mean, we can talk about income inequality and the fact that assets and the increase in value we've seen in assets over not just the last year, but the last decade, and what that's done to that divide in this country, to see more people, that democratization, more people getting invested.
It's not. They're not responsible for him for no way he overreacted, bro. So like if you go to the bank and the bank puts you minus $10 million. You call the bank, or you, man, yo, what's up with this, yo? And then you wait for a response. You don't just kill yourself, man. Nah, man, I'm not blaming Robinhood for that, man. He a kid, he shouldn't have been playing a grown folks game, man. If you can't handle the losses, it is what it is, man. I ain't letting you do that on here, man. That ain't his fault, man. We don't like to take accountability for nothing, man.
Middle class, younger people, our business was dying. It became a business for
no kids, y'all. No kids.
Financial services?
Well, because they decided that they just wanted index funds. Now they do index funds here, but they pick stocks, and they care about stocks. Now, David, don't look askance at me, because it's absolutely.
I know, but it's the idea. Well, email something. Don't just kill yourself, yo. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, I'm not blaming Robinhood for that, man. Anything can happen. Like, you don't know, and it wound up being a mistake. Like, that's the thing about technology. Mistakes happen.
And that was lost. I remember when Dick Grassover in this place, he was trying to talk about how.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. I ain't blaming Robinhood for that.
You want to invest the S&P. This man's not that.
I'm really curious to see what that allocation ends up being to retail investors. They didn't actually answer that question. And we've been potential. It's potentially the lower end of that 20 to 35% range, but it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And of course, you know, what kind of pop potentially we get in this game today and beyond.
Well, even beyond.
And beyond.
It's very meta, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jim, how about tonight?
I'm in the metaverse. Okay, I've got one of the largest agriculture companies that's been red hot, AGCO. Dexcom.
Yeah, Robinhood doesn't have a nod in the call.
He gets Abbott for terrible diabetes. And then I got a guy Vlad 10th.
Look at that.
So he's doing the pre and post.
Well,
Pre-game, post-game.
Yeah.
Even if you respond, like, you can't get a response overnight. There's 28 million people talking. There's 28 million people in the email. That's not Robinhood's problem, man.
I think they having 4 on the desk as well, like old times, right?
Yes. Yeah, I had to fight hard for that.
I want to hear more about the Money app 5 years from now.
Oh my God! I want to hear what PayPal's going to do.
That's it.
I want to hope that not everybody's a flipper. I want to hope that they look at more than options. Because options, yes, are higher risk.
Jim, we'll see you at 6.
What an exciting guy.
All right.
Mad Money, of course, with Jim Cramer, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Sticking with the Robinhood theme, let's turn to our Leslie Picker, Arcade.
Okay, hold on, y'all. We're going to get into it.
Leslie might be able to help us out with some indications.
Yeah, that's right. So very closely to base indication window opened about 15 minutes ago or So this is basically the process where they start pairing orders together to get a good sense of what price they should open the stock at. Right now, we're hearing orders around $40 a share, but this is on pretty low, a low amount, about 2.6 million shares at this point in time. We won't really start seeing activity until that amount pretty much doubles, until you get about 10% of the float here that's matched to start getting real indications in the windows that we typically see. Now, I've been chatting with investors, I've been chatting with other sources this morning just to kind of get a sense of what's going on, what's sentiment like, how this deal is really different.
I'm stuck in Africa with COVID. You're not stuck, man. Just take your time, take a couple of days, heal yourself, and get back home, man. You're not stuck, man.
The proportion allocated to retail investors, we've learned from sources that number is closer to 20% than it is to 35%. And so that's something to keep an eye on. Another thing that I think is worth watching out for today is the actual infrastructure and piping of Robinhood itself. This is a very big day. Even if you allocate 25% of this deal to retail investors on the platform, that is still a tremendous amount of stock that's going to be changing hands. And a lot of people
I'm saying no kids in the events, brother. No kids in the event. You have 1,000 adults. It's not a kid event, man.
This is a company that has a history of outages in the past. This is a really, really important test for the piping and infrastructure that underlies this company.
Leslie, I mean, it's also an important test, I think, for just sort of the whole rethinking and shifting that we've been seeing.
I would not.
In terms of how companies are coming public and what that looks like. So whether it's the retail allocation, whether it's the fact that employees are able to sell a certain amount of their shares and not be locked up for months on end.
Or what matter?
It's going to be key to this bigger, broader conversation that we've been having for really a couple of years now around the best way to bring these companies public.
Yeah, so Robinhood has this IPO access platform, and they're actually not the first company to use it. What's different is that the companies that have used it recently, and this is really just in the last few months or so, Figs, Duolingo used it yesterday. They're really only selling about 1 to 2% of their offering to retail investors. Here you're looking at 10 times that amount potentially depending on.
I do believe in the scriptures.
And so, this is, from that standpoint, never actually been done before, just from the sheer size of it, the size of the IPO. It's $2.2 billion, even pricing at the low end of the range. So certainly
Trap only responds to the BS and ignores the real. Evidently, you don't know Trap, bro.
All of those things play a factor here. It should be a really interesting day.
And you said likely we start seeing trading potentially, what, after lunch?
I would say after 1 o'clock.
Okay. Leslie Becker, thank you. Kate, not everyone is happy about Robinhood's IPO. Some
oh, Lord, golly.
Stock as well. So Kate Rooney's going to bring us the latest there.
That's right, Morgan. Robinhood really has been a polarizing startup. There are certainly fans that's introduced a whole new generation of investors to the stock market. But Robinhood is also facing a lot of pushback from people online. They're saying they're going to boycott the IPO.
Oh, God.
Is preserving about 20% of shares for retail investors on its platform, like Leslie just reported. It had originally said it was doing up to 35%, and a faction of them are taking to Reddit and Twitter, urging each other to not buy into Robinhood's IPO today. Others are pledging to borrow money.
Oh, Lord, here we go. These people here.
And trading restrictions back in January. Other Reddit traders are telling each other to just ignore it altogether and not spend the money to short this stuff. According to a recent survey from Cardify, Robinhood users are pretty mixed on whether they would buy shares in this IPO. More than a third said they would buy, 30% said nope, they're not buying, and a third say they're still unsure. Because it's unclear if this chatter on social media is just a very vocal minority or if it's going to translate to any real action. But if this IPO turns out to be another viral event, it could be a good thing for growth at Robinhood. We saw similar pushback on social media earlier this year, and GameStop and that whole frenzy. The same negative sentiment was happening on Twitter and Reddit. And during that time, traders who were using the app logged on for more than an hour per week in January on average. It was #1 in the App Store, and during that time, the app saw record user growth. And that engagement, though, has been a huge lure for venture capital investors who have backed Robinhood and did during the GameStop saga. That engagement, though, has dropped significantly, as you can see, over recent months. It is still a risk for investors and one that they're very focused on. Robinhood's pandemic-era growth has really been tied to these viral events like GameStop and even Dogecoin rallies. So we'll see if the IPO ends up being another viral event. Back to you.
Kate, I do want to get your take on what Tenev said about customer interest in crypto. And also this note out of MasterCard today, they had earnings. The CFO said that they've seen a decent level.
I'm coming, y'all. They going in like, usually they take a commercial. They in right now.
Digital currencies like crypto over the last 3 weeks.
We've seen a slowdown in retail.
Young Gray 5146. I do agree with that 100%. They put pressure on all of the big firms.
Or GameStop. So it does seem like some of the trading activity has slowed down. You mentioned things like stimulus checks kind of easing here.
I'm going to give my take on it, but I need to just let them finish. You feel me?
Cryptocurrency sort of picking up the slack here. There does seem to be, at least for Robinhood, a bigger focus on cryptocurrencies and really just moving to where the puck is going, so to speak, and finding what customers are interested in trading. That does seem to be cryptocurrency at this moment. Others, though, have pointed to things like Coinbase and potential for the slowdown in crypto and Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is a little less volatile. It's kind of been hanging around that $35,000, $40,000 level. That doesn't tend to be good for trading volume and therefore trading and transaction-based revenue, which is really how Robinhood makes the majority of its money. It's more than 80% of revenue. MasterCard and Visa, MasterCard was sort of the other side of Visa. They had mentioned, there has been a little less activity. Visa, though, mentioned crypto on its earnings call. Al Kelly talked about it. PayPal yesterday also mentioning crypto. So you have a lot of these mainstream card companies saying that it's driving user engagement.
I did the promo when I came in, B.
Involved, and I think, if anything, symbolically are just mentioning crypto as a potential growth area.
Kate, thank you. I want to get over to Bob Pisani now as well, who often helps us navigate this period prior to the open of a high-profile IPO. Bob, what are you taking a look at here?
Well, I've been covering IPOs for 24 years, David, and this is one of the toughest to kind of get your head around. There's a lot that people seem to really like about them, and there's a lot that seems to be very cautious. Very cautious to me is how dependent they are on trading revenues. 82% payment for order flow. I mean, it's a diverse payment for order flow. Options are 38% of the revenues. Equities 26%. Crypto's pretty high too. They do some securities lending. They do some miscellaneous things, of course, too. They have margin interest on top of that. It's a diverse group, but it's still very dependent on what's going on with trading revenues. So this leaves them very, very exposed to what I call regulatory risk, not just for payment for order flow, but gamification. Gensler has promised a report to Congress about what happened with the whole Reddit GameStop thing this summer sometime. So we're going to hear more. Just because they paid a fine, a lot of money, to FINRA recently doesn't mean there couldn't be additional regulatory actions to be coming. And of course, crypto is another issue out there. I'll tell you what I do like about this company. 22 million accounts. That's very, very impressive. And remember, Schwab's got about 32 million. I'd say Vanguard is north of 30. Fidelity's north of 30. 22 million for a young company. That's very impressive.
Very good.
They don't have as much money. 81 billion in assets under management. I mean, think about this. BlackRock has $9 trillion.
Don't compare to BlackRock.
For BlackRock, 8 trillion for Vanguard, 7 trillion for Charles Schwab. 81 billion. Look, we're talking 1%. But those accounts have very little money in them, but they have the potential to grow. So I think that's a plus for them. Finally, guys, I'll tell you what I'm disappointed about with IPOs in general this year. We've got an awful lot of them, 260 north of that. That's not quite going to be a record, but in terms of the dollar amount raised, 94 billion. Hey, we're close to an all-time record. The old 96 billion was set way back many, many, many years ago. So I think we're going to have a record amount. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like any of the aftermarket action that I'm seeing. We are getting first-day pops in the IPOs here. The IPOs are up about 7%. Average year to date, but only 50% are above their IPO price. Now, why is that? Well, it's because the after trading, the aftermarket trading, after the first day, it's trading down. The average IPO is trading down. Why is this happening? It's happening because the prices are high. So people are taking profits right after the first day. I think we're going to see a much more cautious pricing environment because people are looking at these kinds of numbers. The average person, the average CNBC viewer buying in on the first day, the average IPO is underwater. And that's going to send, I think, a note of caution to pricing in the second half. Keep an eye on that one. But this is one of the most interesting IPOs I've seen in a long, long time, guys.
That was exactly where I was going with you. I mean, we have Traeger that just rang. I think they rang the opening bell this morning. They're going public here at the stock exchange. I think it's something like in total 18 more companies coming public this week alone. And I just wonder how closely a name like Robinhood, which is being seen for a variety of different reasons that we've been laying out on our air all morning, being seen as one of the most closely watched, highly anticipated IPOs of the year, how that sort of sets us up for some of these other big offerings, especially since, as you just mentioned, some of the other big IPOs that we've had so far this year are underwater versus their IPO prices.
You know, and this is happening in an up market. We're in a historically high market. If everybody wonders what matters in the IPO market, number one is how is the stock market doing? Everything else is really secondary, and we're in a hot stock market and have been for quite a long time, other than a couple of days of hiccups. So the fact that you're trading underwater after the first couple of days, I think is a warning sign. It clearly tells me they're getting good prices. I'm sure the people who have gone public are happy with the prices. I'm more concerned with the average CNBC viewer who's buying it after the first day and is losing money, and that's telling me the prices are too high. People are taking profits. So I think there's going to be some, let's call it pricing discipline. That's the word they use in the IPO business. Pushback when people try to get much higher prices in the second half of the year. And let's face it, maybe that's not good for the company that's raising the money, but it is good for the average viewer.
All right, Bob Pisani, thank you. We'll be hearing more from you today. I can only imagine. It's time now for our Utm Spotlight this morning. We are taking
Man, they going in this morning. I can't even get in.
Yeah, that's ticker ITA. It's up over 14% this year. In what has been a busy week for earnings overall, we've gotten a lot of numbers from aerospace defense companies. That's why we're showing you this. So today, getting a boost from a couple of those top holdings. Northrop Grumman, which was out with an earnings beat this morning, and as well. Stock's up about 20% already this year. It's up about 2.5% this morning. Textron, similar story there. Beats on both the top and bottom lines while raising the full year guidance. That comes after strong reports from Boeing, from Raytheon, from Lockheed Martin, just to name a few. General Dynamics also reporting yesterday as well. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on the sector, given all of the indications we're getting around a recovery in commercial aerospace and aviation, even if there are some question marks, at least near term, on the defense side.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, check out shares of our parent Comcast. Up this morning after an earnings beat. That's an all-time high. Actually got to 59.70, just a stone's throw from 60. Chairman and CEO Brian Roberts going to join us on Tech Check at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. As we got record highs on the Dow, S&P at 44.22. We're back in a moment.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about right here. We got a lot to talk about right here, right? We got a lot to talk about right here. Before we talk about it, though, listen, man, this portion of Reporting Live with the Trap is brought to you by Certified Wallstreet Trappin Baking Soda, the Pyrex Vision, and the Triple Beam team. It is also funded by Trappin with the Trapper 2-day workshop and workbook. Again, it is brought to you by Trappin with the Trapper, Certified Trapper Baking Soda. It's brought to you by the Pyrex Vision and the Triple Beam team. Also, it is funded by the Trappin with the Trapper 2-day workshop and workbook. Let's trap. Okay. We're going to be here for a minute now. We're not going to go back for a while because we got some stuff to talk about. Right, so right now we're talking about Robinhood. We're talking about the IPO of Robinhood. We're talking about the IPO being at about $38 right now. It's probably at about $40, right? Something like that. First questions first. I will say this, man. Robinhood is 100% an innovation. It is a disruptor of the game, right? I will say that. Do I personally like the company to invest in? I do not. I also will say this, though. Because it is a very young company, I do think that in the long term, the stock will be around. Why? Because it is a disruptor. Now, it does have a bigger brand name than the M1 Finances and the other things. Brand name is good. And because I also think Robinhood is 100% user friendly. Now, it has a lot of discrepancies that I don't like. Why? Because I'm a more seasoned investor. Right? And because I'm a more seasoned investor, it's more things that I look for when I'm looking to invest and when I looking at different companies, right? So I am looking for different things that help me become better in what I'm doing as an investor. For someone who's just getting in the game, Robinhood is probably going to be the first place that they go, right? And because that's going to be the first place they go, they do have the branding identity more than everybody else. Do they have a moat, so say? It's too young right now. You can't just slap a moat on a IPO, right? They have to be around. But is it an innovator? 100%. The 100% an innovator, and I totally understand what the business is. Do I advise anyone to get in an IPO right now? I would say, me personally, I wouldn't get in an IPO right now. Why? Because you have a lot of early age investors that will now get out, right? And when they get out, they cashing out, which they are supposed to. You can't slap a moat on Airbnb. Hell no. Because they're not putting nobody out of business like that. They're not putting a hotel out of business or nothing. But furthermore, I will say that I do see the company evolving. I think that, you got to realize it's going against people. Cool, what's good? You got to realize that Robinhood is going against people like TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, right? They're going against those companies, and these companies have been around forever. They are the big dogs in that industry. But Robinhood applied a lot of pressure when it came with the so-called free trades. It disrupted the system, which is now why E-Trade and so many other platforms now have free trades. Now, the thing about Robinhood, they have a lot of flaws. And as a beginner, you don't know the flaws, so you aren't privy to it. So you don't understand it. You like, yo, Robinhood lit, that's what I'm rocking with. And so because they'll keep that. They won't get rid of that. That will be the catalyst to their business. That will be the catalyst to their business, because you got to realize the people that are investing now, most people that are investing is new, especially in our culture, right? Especially in our culture. But Robinhood has 28 million users. 28 million users is a lot of users, and all those users aren't new, right? So they have 28 million users. That is more than half of what a lot of the other brokerages have, like TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Charles Schwab. Like, that's more than half of what they have. Like, all of them have more than 28 million, but you got to think about Robinhood being a company that's been around for 6 years, 8 years, right? So that is working in their favor. They have a lot of money coming through the app. They are constantly evolving the app. They are constantly growing. At one point, they didn't have a lot of stuff they have now. They now offer drip. They offer fractional shares. They offer a lot of things, right? So one of the things, so that is great for them. That is 100% great for them. And I also think that the app will consistently evolve. I do think that he said something about education. I think they'll put enough education out there to help people. They also have like margin accounts and other things. So I think the app is going to continuously evolve. Again, for me as a person who's more experienced trader, it's not what I would want to be, right? Because I get more help and more ideas. I get more information from other platforms. But as a beginner platform, I think most beginners will gravitate to them because the TD Ameritrades, the E-Trades, the Charles Schwabs, their app isn't as beginner friendly as Robinhood is, right? And one of the things you got to ask ourselves is that are we looking at it from our experience, right? Robinhood are scammers and crooks. They ain't no bigger than the bank you use. Your money in the bank is a scam and a crook. Go petition to them too. Tell them the same thing, because they're scammers and crooks as well, right? They've been the biggest scammers and crooks in the world. So go make sure you tell the bank where you got your money at. Make sure you tell them that too, right? The one thing we have to ask ourselves is when we looking at businesses like Robinhood, again, perspective from me being someone who is a learned and more seasoned investor, it wouldn't be the app for me because I'm far removed, right? But as the game of investing keeps on growing, right, and more people want to get into investing, Robinhood will often be their first choice. Why? Because they can get on their phone. It isn't full of all of the other stuff that other things have, right? So when you go to E-Trade, you know, for me, I can get on E-Trade and just run through it. I can get on Charles Schwab. It's not as beginner friendly as Robinhood. Nothing is as beginner friendly as Robinhood. Nothing, right, is as beginner friendly as Robinhood. Yeah, of course they don't. Other brokerages don't do that. But as a beginning investors don't know nothing about that, right? Banks do. Banks giving you 0.02% on your money. That's robbery. That's a scam. That's a crook, right? Because they could be giving you more because banks are full of money, but they aren't. And you're not going to tell them that they're crooks. So chill with that, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, so Robinhood has 18 million funded accounts. They have 52 million in total revenue. The monthly active users has increased from 2017 to 2021, which shows a company that does have growth. The thing about Robinhood also is so there's a lot of things inside of that, like one of the things that's big is payment of order flow, right? That's really big. And it's so first we have to think about like what is order flow, right? And order flow typically just allows brokerages and platforms to see like where people are investing. It lets them see like where the orders are coming from, institutional investors, retail investors. They understand all of that, right? And so now we get through the payment of order flow. It's how brokerages make money, right? And it's how they make money through each order. Now the thing about Robinhood is they're gonna, and this is like they said, this is the downfall for them, because majority of their money okay, so my bad, y'all. So Robinhood is most so they make more of their money from trading. And that in itself is going to be an issue when we look at other brokerages and other platforms, because they don't want that, right? Because now what's happening is, because you are a first time, beginner free app, the FDIC and the SEC doesn't promote the use of beginners trading, right? They don't promote that. And so because Robinhood makes majority of their money from trading, options, margins, it's kind of like you're saying one thing on the front, but on the back you're doing something completely different. You get what I'm saying? Because you're saying you're user-friendly, beginner-friendly, so user-friendly, beginner-friendly, but you're making most of your money off trades, options, and margins, which contradict you being user-friendly and beginner-friendly, right? And so if you look at other apps, they are more geared towards certain things. Like if you look at a company like Interactive Brokers, right? Interactive Brokers is probably the best trading platform you can get on, right? Interactive Brokers is the probably because but it's only for advanced investors. Like, therefore, the advanced investor. You'll get on that platform. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're going to get lost, right? If you look at somebody like E-Trade, somebody like Charles Schwab, they are beginner friendly for information. It's easy to use. It's not hard, right? But they support trading and they do trade. Someone like E-Trade does both. They're good at, long-term investing, but E-Trade is more so a trading app, but it supports the beginners, right? It supports all levels of investing. And so that way it's no backdoor action. When you look at Robinhood, you can't say you want to be beginner friendly, you want to be user friendly, you want to be new investor friendly, but you support options, crypto, margin accounts is where you make majority of your money. 80% of your revenue comes from that. That now becomes a conflict of interest, right? You feel what I'm saying? Because the market, unpopular to what most people think, long-term investing is how you build wealth. Over the long term is how you build wealth, right? Trading is a tool used to help build wealth, 100%. And so now with Robinhood, they don't necessarily make enough money. Like, long-term investing isn't where their money is, right? But also Robinhood has a lot of price delays, right? So and it's another issue with Robinhood, because if you transact the order, oftentimes you'll see what you buy it at and what your final payment at is going to be different prices. And that's where there's also a discrepancy with Robinhood. The real time, and that can cost you money because they also make money off that as well. So it's a lot of issues with them from a technical point of view that most beginners won't get. And so that's why you'll see that conflict of interest between Robinhood and between everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So do I think it's a great investment? I think the only bad investment you make is the one that you don't research. And I think that when it comes to Robinhood, I think in the long term, I think they will apply pressure on older companies. I think they'll apply pressure. I think they'll keep evolving. The actual time pricing is a huge problem. The real time is a huge problem. Can they clean those issues up and still be profitable? That's the thing. It's will they clean those issues up because they make so much money there, right? So that now becomes a situation like, if that's where they make a majority of their money, do they clean it up? Now people asking about Webull and M1 Finances. Now think about it, Robinhood, M1 Finance actually may be a better business and do things better than Robinhood, but Robinhood has the brand name. That's why you should do limit orders. But even with Robinhood, when you do limit orders at a certain price, it still is going to switch over. It's just the nature of how the thing is set up. So, there's issues, but there's issues with every new business. Definitely have time, but it's not something that I would get in right now. But just because I understand the pros and cons of the business, if I would, I wouldn't have a problem with people investing in Robinhood, because I just understand it will be the company that new investors will consistently use. That 28 million users will go up to 30 million. It will go up to 35 million. And at some point they will compete with the older brokerages. Why will they compete with the older brokerages? Is because new investors are more privy to learning how to trade. New investors are more privy to learn how to trade. and Robinhood is an easy place for them. And so it's kind of like YouTube versus, it's kind of like YouTube and TikTok versus Instagram and Facebook, right? Like the people, new kids aren't just creating new Instagrams, but they are creating new YouTubes and they are creating new TikToks. And even though Instagram and Facebook has more users than YouTube and TikTok, I think in the long term, at some point, those two companies will be more powerful than Facebook. Not powerful in the way of like powerful, like how Facebook has 3 billion users, but more powerful in a way that people would tend to spend more time on TikTok and YouTube. You feel what I'm saying? Again, like my daughter wants to, like her goal, I'd be like, what you want to be? She like, no, I just want to be a YouTuber. Like if you ask a kid that's young, they want to be YouTubers. That is their introduction to entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? So their introduction to entrepreneurship is being on YouTube. They already see that they can make money there. They already see it can be fun. It can be entertaining. So entrepreneurship for the next generation comes at being on YouTube, being on TikTok, right? So it's not like being on Instagram or being on Facebook. Yeah, not powerful, but popular. Great way to help me out right there. So I think that will help. It doesn't matter to younger crowds. Not right now. They're not worried about that. And so when we look at a Robinhood, we look at it the same way, right? Newer users are coming. They're not jumping on TD Ameritrade. They're not jumping on E-Trade. They're not jumping on Charles Schwab. They're like, yo, I'm about to go jump on this Robinhood because it's easy, it's quick, it's right there. You know what I'm saying? So that alone will give them an advantage because the growth is in that, right? Because, you know, newer entrepreneurs, you know, they're coming every day, right? And they will switch from YouTube. They'll use YouTube and TikTok and then funnel that to Instagram. Same thing will be with Robinhood, right? They'll go on Robinhood. They'll understand it. Even if they don't understand it, it's just easy for them to buy. Excuse me, y'all. Even if they don't understand Robinhood, even if they don't understand investing totally, they know they can go on Robinhood and click buy or click sell and it's done. They don't have to like fix, you know, different orders and it's buy, sell, done. It's easy, right? And so because of that, I think Robinhood has a chance to keep being a disruptor and see potential growth. How profitable would it be? That's a different question. So that's my take on Robinhood. I hope I gave y'all some game from that. That's my take on Robinhood, y'all. How do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about that, man? Right quick. Let me put this in right quick, man. Boom, man. This portion of Reporting Live with the Trap is brought to you by Certified Wallstreet Trapper Bacon Soda. It's brought to you by the Pyrex Vision and the Triple Beam team. But it's also funded by Wallstreet Trapper, Trappin with the Trapper 2-day workshop and workbook. Again, this segment is brought to you by Certified Wallstreet Trapper Bacon Soda. Get yours now. Also brought to you by the Pyrex Vision and the Triple Beam team. It's also funded by Trappin with the Trapper 2-day workshop and workbook. Get yours now. All right, cool. Yeah. So that's, I think, you know, and who's to say I'm right or who's to say I'm wrong, right? I think everybody will have their personal opinion on how they feel about it, and it's not saying right or wrong. Let's talk about Qualcomm. I told y'all about this business a while back. Nobody listens, but they are up 6% to this day. Let's get it. How do you feel about CEO Vlad? I think he's a young CEO. He has a lot to learn in the game. He has a lot to learn. He has a long way to go. You know, we'll continue to learn, but, you know, I look for integrity. I look for honesty in CEOs, which is why I love people like Bill McDermott, which is why I love people like Tim Cook, you know, people like that, they get my utmost. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you can buy shares of Arm & Hammer, and there's another thing. It's about Arm & Hammer is made by Church and Dwight. If you don't know, now you know. One of the dividend aristocrats. You did. So right quick, man, let me tell y'all. I would love for everyone in here. There's 700 people in here, man. I feel like I give a lot of game in the morning. Bro, do you check if a stock is a lot to invest? I don't. I'll be honest, King. I do not check. I'll be honest. What I do check for is integrity in a business. What I do check for is how they treat their customers, how they treat their employees. I do things like that, but I do not. I'll just be 100% real with you, King. I'm going to just be honest with you, fam. That's just my take on that. You know what I'm saying? Right quick, man, I want to say that I would love for everybody in here to be a part of Trappers Anonymous. Trap Anonymous is my group. It is $37.99 a month, $37.99 a month. You get one free week. Your first week is one free week. Last night we had a book club that was 3 hours. We have book clubs. We have classes on Sundays, which called Live from the Kitchen, where we break down businesses as a group. Each trapper breaks down a business. There's so much to learn from. You will not get a better fundamental. I think I will say to myself, I am probably one of the best fundamental stock investors that is out right now. Real talk, because everybody, and there's nothing wrong with trading. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a difference between fundamentals and basics. I do teach the basics, but I'm more of a fundamental investor. Fundamental investing is when you understand how a company works. You understand what makes it a good company, what makes it a bad company, what makes it a great investment, what makes it a bad investment. Is the company profit? We get into the fundamentals and straight learn how to invest in these companies to build long-term wealth. We also talk about not just long-term investing, but also like mid-term investing as well. You get one free week, man. For $37.99, you can't beat that. I mean, like I said, we did a 3-hour book club last night, major game. We doing our Live from the Kitchen classes, which are mostly on Sundays, probably 2 3-hour classes. You know, there's so many new investors. We help investors on all levels, whether you're a beginner or whether you're advanced investor, no matter your age, whether you're young or old. We have kids in there parents who put their kids in there from the age of 11 and people. And I think one queen was in there last night. She said she was 70. And she's like, yo, she's changed my life. You get a sneak peek of it in my stories. If you miss everything, every class that we do is put back in the group as a replay. You can definitely get that. We have educators come in once a month. I got to get the educator for July to come in once a month. So definitely, man, I would love for you all to join. If you want to join, DM me the word Trapper. I will answer my DMs, but as you can see right now, my DMs are on 99 plus, so I will answer. So matter of fact, don't send me the word Trapper. Do me a favor right quick. If you want to join, just click the link in my bio. Go to the link, the link tree, and then go to Trappers Anonymous. You'll definitely get that. Also, the Wallstreet Trapping course is 50% off. DM me the word Big Trap. It is a blueprint to what we learn how to invest in. It's normally $9.97, but it's 50% off. You can definitely get that. We also have the workshop and the workbook, y'all. That's who is sponsoring these lives. The workshop and the workbook. The Wallstreet Trapping workshop is 8 to 10 hours worth of information that we did live for 2 days. You get that. The book club last night was crazy. Yeah. The workbook is also amazing. It has question and answers. Like you see right here, stock records for success, revenue, stock performance, successful, blank, blank, stability or turnover, blank and blank department. We give a lot of in the workbooks. They good. The workbook is Q&A. I mean, fill in the blank, but inside of the workbook, you do need, I'm not going to lie to you, you can get the workbook without the 2-day workshop, but I would advise everyone to get the 2-day workshop. It's $99, but Definitely that, man. So DM me the word workbook, a workbook or a workshop if you want to get the workbook. And if you want to get Trappers Anonymous, definitely just click the link in my bio. I got too many DMs right now to get those. Why don't I turn my badges on? Sometimes I turn it on, sometimes I don't. You know, it's no big deal. I don't mind. I don't have to get paid for coming on here giving y'all game. It ain't no big deal. I appreciate everybody that want to support me. That shows me that I'm giving you all value. So I thank you all for telling me to turn my badges on. You feel me? Can't wait till class tonight. There's no class tonight. There's no class tonight. There's no class tonight. But yeah, man, so just definitely would appreciate that, man. Yeah, you can get the workshop and the workbook together. You just, you know, you get it. It's once you get the workshop, you go down, you get the workbook. Definitely appreciate that, man. Yeah. So let's see what's going on right quick, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all another maybe 10, 15 minutes, man. I've been on here for 72 minutes, y'all. 72 god doggone minutes. 3-hour book club last night for sure.
Since we launched the business.
Let's see what they got.
And theme parks came out of the pandemic with a pent-up demand. So there's a lot of good news, a lot of momentum. It was a fabulous quarter.
All right. What are you seeing, I guess, at the household level when it comes to some of these high-speed metrics? Because last year it seemed like we all understood the story. We need this, we need the connectivity because we're at home. The thinking was, how are they going to comp this next year?
Well, that's the part of what we said this morning on earnings, is that we now predict that for the balance of this year, we will not only be doing what we're doing, but if you look back at 2019, we will beat 2019 by
I think a couple of weeks ago, is the book club saved. I gotta put it in. So the free week includes how many classes? Every class that we do, Queen.
The best speeds, the best capacity. People have about 15 devices in their home or more, and they're using 8 at any one time. They use Wi-Fi. It is so critical to be great and reliable. And during this last year and a half,
I took the free course and learned a lot. I will stay enjoying for sure. I appreciate you, Popeye 30, for sure. How often do the group meet? So we do something every day. So there's a lot of information in the group. We do like I gotta post an ETF today. Today is ETF Thursday. I gotta break that down. So I gotta post that today, along with the meeting from last night.
it's the core of the company. I couldn't be more pleased.
Man, Franklin Road to the big city of Atlanta. For sure. When I first moved to the A in 2015, I was on Franklin Road. That's a fact. But I had moved to Atlanta when I left that, bro. I only stayed there for a year, then I moved in Midtown. I bought the baking soda just in case the codes didn't work. I like that, King. This ain't brought to you by Trappin with the Trappin. So I bought you Trappin baking soda. My man, I bought your baking soda, Trappin, just in case the codes don't work. I love it.
Taking broadband only, or if you take our full package, or you frankly want to mix and match. And if you're mobile, and that's the most important device you have, we want to have the best mobile offering. We have the highest customer satisfaction with our wireless.
Khadijah, I'm gonna need you to change that picture, yo. Like real talk, change that picture, Khadijah. It's scaring the crap out of me. So we talked about Comcast a while back. They have sold out all of their 80% of their Super Bowl ads are sold out, which is great. They sold all of their Olympic ads, so that's good as well. Not really a fan of Comcast though, but they are the parent company to CNBC. Let's see what's up right now at the bottom. Let's take a close look. NOI is up $1 a day. Paychecks is up $1.19 a day. Dr. Pepper is down 32 cents. Let's see. Workhorse. Workhorse took off and then it kind of slowed down for a while. Yeah, Khadijah got to change that. That shit is scaring the shit out of me, man. Yeah, change that, Khadijah. You're too beautiful to have that as your Abby.
The top Peacock executive came from Comcast Cable, Matt Strauss.
What time of everything is in the group, Queen. Everything is in the group, Queen. And I'm not trying to sound like you're getting on my nerve or nothing, but everything is in the group. Everything is in the group. You get 1 week free. If you don't like what's going on in the group, you can cancel that crap. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure you'll love it, yo. I'm not trying to sound like I'm tripping on you or nothing, Queen, but it's $37.99. Like, you get 1 week free. You get access to everything in the group. Like, everything. Replays, everything. Just check it out for the 1 free week.
What that means is people who are using the service or subscribing to the service, that's being powered by...
My bad, Phil. They had a great quarter. You're right, Phil. They had a great quarter.
If you're a Peacock customer, you get Boss Baby, and a lot of people did that. A new show like Dr. Death, which has had fantastic resonance.
I'm impatient, bro.
And someday our Hulu content, which is, our premier content from television.
There's so much information in Tree when we all help each other out. No Trapper Left Behind. That's our thing, man. No Trapper Left Behind.
And then new movies.
Yes, I will.
Like yesterday or a couple days ago's announcement with the Exorcist films.
I'm new, and sometimes I feel lost of all the details. If you're in Trappers Anonymous, just take your time. You don't have to rush. Right, Trappers Anonymous is great. One love, very informative for sure. Just show up to the group, we'll show you around. That's a fact. Trap, I'm new to the info. What all you do? Just teach people how to make a whole lot of money in the stock market and build wealth over the long term. That's about it.
Selling Peacock for the first time, and over 500 million.
Oh, the books? Yep.
Exist a year ago.
That's a close. Everybody asks me every time. Bob Marley, The Half Has Never Been Told to Us. A book that Malcolm X wrote, The Life and Reinvention of Malcolm X. Blood Brothers is with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. And The Reconstruction of Black America by W.E.B. Du Bois.
How would you characterize it?
I just came back from Tokyo. It's first of all, it's a proud moment for the company and the team that is committed to.
What's up with the baking soda? What do you mean? What's up with the baking soda? I got baking soda. I got baking soda. You heard me?
Operation it is and how well the team does. It dominates the 17 days, the landscape, and the highs and the lows and the emotional.
Oh, I forgot about the Billions recap. Yeah, we'll do it. It'll be y'all though.
Achievements, and we now have it on so many platforms.
Trap, don't short sell yourself. You get more than what you mentioned. I appreciate you, King.
Use it as an opportunity to tell.
I got Powernomics too. That's one of my favorite books. Blood Brothers is a good read. It's a great read. Trap got more patience in the waiting room.
Carries the Olympics. Xfinity carries the Olympics on demand. Our voice remote, all the social media. We can't go anywhere. So if you combine all the other broadcasters and triple.
Trap, what's a great price at Robinhood? I don't know yet, man. I don't know. How many times did I read things? At least 5, and I'm still reading it. Let me show y'all something right quick.
Hopefully in a thoughtful way. And,
show y'all something right quick.
It's been a tough Olympics for sure.
Show y'all something right quick. I don't stop reading, y'all. And I take notes with everything I read. I don't stop reading, and I take notes for everything I read, right? And then I have more books. I never stop reading, y'all. I never stop reading. So I have over 400 books. I have over 180 Audible books. I never stop reading. I never stop reading. I never stop reading, man. I order books all the time. We watching CNBC, y'all. Alright, y'all, so I got a lot of stuff I gotta go do and take care of. We're the Superior Man, one of my favorite books. Got that from Nip, man. Shout out to the king, man. Yeah. I gotta do that. So man, I'm about to go, man. I got a lot of stuff to take care of. It's 11 o'clock. I got in here early. We was on live for 84 minutes. So appreciate y'all for that. So let me just say this right quick, man. This morning's opening bell was brought to you by Trappin with the Trapper Certified Wallstreet Trapper Baking Soda. It's brought to you by the Pyrex Vision And it was brought to you by the Triple Beam team. It's also funded by Trappin with the Trapper 2-day workshop and workbook. Get yours now. Right quick before I go, check it out, man. Join Trappers Anonymous, man. Click the link in my bio. Go to Trappers Anonymous. You will get 1 week free, and you will get access to everything that we do in that 1 week. If you want to get the workshop, DM me the word workshop. You can get the workshop. It is $99. The workbook is $47 plus $5 shipping. So it's about $52, $53. The Wall Street Trapping course is 50% off. DM me the word Big Trap. And we have the Kilo Pack, which all 4 our ebooks is for a limited time. That's a bundle deal. You can DM me the word Kilo. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. I got so much love for y'all. I might go live this evening for closing bell, but I got a lot of stuff to do. If not, man, I'll just see y'all tomorrow. I'll get with y'all. For everybody who gonna be in Houston, I see y'all Sunday. That shit gonna be bananas, man. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. I love y'all. I'm out. Do me one favor, man. Man, just tell somebody about what we're doing. Don't forget your tour dates. The tour dates is already on the thing, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm out.